What's going on, guys? My name is Eric, and this is First Thing in the Morning, the only show where we roll out of bed and start playing some games. And today we have a very special video. I requested some questions from Twitter, and I got a lot more than I thought I would. So I'm going to do some today, and I'm going to release a video tomorrow with the rest of them. Now, they basically fell into two categories, video games and wrestling, because those are the only two things I know. So today is the gaming questions, and tomorrow we'll do the wrestling questions. So, without further ado, let's get into some questions. Hey, our first question comes from Ben at YQuai on Twitter. What got you into gaming? I've been gaming for so long that I don't really remember what got me into gaming. I know my parents had a Sega Master System, or Mega Drive, I think, in the UK. So I started with that, and then my dad brought home a Nintendo, and it just kept going from there. I pretty much have owned every major console that has been released in North America, and I've been playing video games since I've been old enough to hold a controller. So I guess it's just something I never stopped doing. Secondly, he asks, why did you decide to start YouTubing? I started watching The Angry Video Game Nerd. He reviews old Nintendo games, and he's angry about it. It's great. I watched a lot of Let's Play videos, and a lot of people would tell me that I should do something similar since I play all the time and I'm always making weird or funny comments while we're playing. So I woke up one morning and I decided to start filming for the show. The first video I did was Super Mario Bros. 3, and I sat there and beat it. It's like an hour and a half long. Around episode 25, I started editing to cut them down to make them easier to watch, and to cut out most of the filler, and just leave in my awesome jokes. So, that is why I started doing it. Oh, that, and for the money.
Here comes the money, 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 money.
Alright, next up we have J Baca at Tweets of J Baca on Twitter, and he asks, what would you consider your greatest video game achievement? Honestly, I'd have to say beating the Ruby weapon in Final Fantasy VII. Once you know how to do it, it's not that difficult, but it took me a long time to do because you have to be insanely powerful. I remember when I did it, I just kind of looked at John, who's here sometimes, and I finally, that was it. That's all I needed to do to complete the entire game, to have nothing else to do. And I looked at him and I just said, finally it's over. I threw the controller down to the ground and I left because I died so many times and I was so angry at that point that I couldn't even really enjoy it. But now it's something that I consider to be a great achievement in my video game history. He continues with, if you could jump into a video game and play any character, who would that be? Honestly, I don't know if I would want to live or jump into any video game world, for the simple fact that every time you do, for like 95% of the game, something is trying to kill you, and that seems like a really stressful way to live your life. So I'm going to pick Tetris, because there's no characters, it's just blocks. I would take Tetris and I would take the L piece. So if I could jump into a video game world and play a character, I would be the Tetris L piece. So next up we got Rocky at Rocky Baya on Twitter. First Thing in the Morning's official live tweeter of the show. He did it once, so I'm naming him the official live tweeter of the show. He kind of has a couple questions here, so strap yourselves in and get ready. Since the show is called First Thing in the Morning, do you actually roll out of bed and start playing some games without brushing your teeth, taking a bath, or have your breakfast? Sorry if the question sounds stupid, but the show is called First Thing in the Morning. No, it's a great question. I'm actually really happy somebody asked me. Whenever possible, yes, I will try to get up and immediately start playing. The only thing I will do before is either make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, because I'm a very angry guy before I get some caffeine in the morning. When someone comes over and plays with me, like John, he isn't always here first thing in the morning, so we'll record that in the afternoon or in the evening. But I always release them as early in the morning as possible. So that's kind of where the theme comes in, more so than when I play the game. But whenever possible, I will get up and immediately start playing some games. Kind of an old school question here. If the game is not working, is it okay to blow into the cartridge? Popular myth, but no, it actually doesn't do anything. In fact, it'll damage your games because when you blow into it, there's spit that comes flying out of your mouth, and it can rust the pins that connect to the actual Nintendo. I think by now that's pretty common knowledge, but hey, I know it doesn't do anything, and I still blow into the cartridges, and it still sometimes seems to work. Just do what you gotta do, I guess, to get your game to work. Lastly, if I could have a guest on first thing in the morning, who would it be and why? Honestly, anybody who watches this show, it'd be cool if you could come sit down and play with me, because I mean, if you're gonna watch it and support the things that I do, I'd love to have you on. If you're talking about maybe somebody a little more famous, I guess I'd really like to sit down and play video games with the New Day. If you watch Xavier Woods' YouTube show, Up Up Down Down, the episodes with Kofi Kingston or Biggie Langston on them are amazing, and they look like they're a lot of fun. They get into it, they trash talk, and that's how I like to play games. So I think if I could have those three guys, or even just one of them on the show, that would be a lot of fun. Some really good questions there, Rocky. Our next question is from a lady. Well, hello. Roxy asks, at Roxy Toxic asks, which retro game would you like to see make a comeback? Now this question almost gave me a nosebleed because there's so many good games that I would like to see come back. I had a conversation about it last night with my friend. So we came to the conclusion that there's so many, but the one that we'd really like to see come back is a modern day Chrono Trigger. Now, we'd like the upgrading graphics, but we'd like to keep the battle system as intact as it was on the Super Nintendo. Minor changes would be okay, but if I woke up and I could just order a game to be made, it would definitely be another Chrono Trigger game. Now she continues and says, which game would you most like to see made into the next film? Honestly, video game movies always pretty much suck. It's hard to think about it, but if off the top of my head, if they got a good director and they got somebody who actually stuck to the story and kind of maybe just made minor changes to it, I'd really like to see what they could do with Fallout. There's similar movies. I mean, it's a dystopian future after a nuclear holocaust, so I mean that subject has kind of been done before, but I think with the whole kind of Fallout sense of humor and the memorable characters in the video games, I think it could be pretty fun to see what they could do with a Fallout movie. More good questions. So many good questions, my head is spinning. Our next question comes from Elliot at Specific Luchador. And I think he's trolling me, but I'm not sure. What is your favorite game and why is it Triple H? The reason why Triple H would be my favorite game is because he is the game. Because of a political hit, he maneuvered his way to get me to like his game more than the current game that's available. So, I defected and I went over to Triple H. Thanks for the question, you fucking smartass. And last but certainly not least, we have the notorious one, Robbie Radford, at Robbie Radford on Twitter, which by the way is the coolest name I've ever fucking heard. If you have Rad in your name, you're head and shoulders above everyone else. Okay, so he wants to know, what are your 3 top gaming moments of all time? Number 1, the first time I saw Mario 64 was mind-blowing. At the time, 3D wasn't a thing. My little brain exploded. So that would be one of them. My second one would probably be 100%ing Final Fantasy VII, because it took me forever. I went over 99 hours, 99 minutes, and 99 seconds. Yeah, I didn't have a girlfriend in high school, so it was really easy to put a lot of time into games. My third gaming moment is when I was, I think I was about 10 years old. They held a Mario Kart tournament at a local hobby shop, and I won it. I was the youngest one who was playing, and I kicked all their asses, and just just like I talk smack now. I did the whole thing while I talk smack. Now, if you could imagine being like 24, 25, 26 years old and having a little 10-year-old talk shit to you, yeah, I was that little 10-year-old. I was a shitty kid. So, those are my 3 top gaming moments of all time. So there you have it, guys. That was first thing in the morning's Q&A. Now, if I didn't answer your question, don't worry. Don't worry. It's because you sent me a wrestling question. I decided to group the gaming and the wrestling questions into 2 separate files, therefore 2 separate videos, because I like to meticulously plan things. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Go give the Facebook fan page a look at facebook.com/FTitM, and don't forget to click that like button. For all the latest first thing in the morning news, be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at MTLBroski. And as always, be nice to each other. Don't be assholes online when you're gaming. And we'll see you back tomorrow for another Q&A video.